Okay, so this morning I feel like talking about a subject that has been a constant in my life. It's anxiety. And I'm making the video in a sense where I would have liked to have had a resource when I was first experiencing anxiety in my life. Probably around what age? I think 21 is when it was acute. I remember I had a really bad anxiety attack when I was 21. I'm sure I felt it before that. In fact, yeah, I could trace it all the way back to being 12 years old. And so I'd like to just kind of express my experience, what's helped me, what's worked for me, how I deal with it now. So basically, anxiety essentially is when you're uncomfortable in your own skin. It's an inescapable feeling. It's almost being alienated from your body in a sense. And it has a major stream of mental instability, and I would even say sanity. You know, you feel like you're losing it, and you feel like you're on the edge of sanity, and it's scary. You know, it can be, when it hits hard, cold sweats and all that, it can be really bad. And I think a lot of people may not even be able to get past it. I think that's a reason, a major reason for suicide. You know, that's the strength of this feeling. It will make you want to kill yourself just to get away from it. And so what do I think about it? What are my initial thoughts? I definitely think there's something to do with a maturity. Like, as you mature as a person, going from adolescence to adulthood, and the threshold that you cross going into adulthood, especially if you're like a wild kid like me, running the streets, drinking alcohol, experimenting with drugs, and you know, generally being a wild kid, you know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it doesn't exactly prepare you for adulthood. And when you do feel a major sense of responsibility upon you, that's when it's going to, you know, come out and get you. Is right when you're like that sobriety feeling, like the coming to sobriety, a real reality sobriety type of deal. Also, so yeah, I think you know, also taking care of your body, really being responsible, you know, and taking, you know, owning your responsibility can definitely help with anxiety. Not, you know, it's a time, as far as the maturity theme, if you do experience anxiety, I think that's a moment where you just say, hey, I got to recognize exactly what my goals are. What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? What's going to make me happy? And take it on full, and dedicate yourself towards a goal, a big goal, you know. And it's probably time to move out of the house, get a job, go to school, do whatever, do your dreams. No more relying on other people to help you out. I think that people who are sometimes blessed or cursed by having generous parents that support them too long along the way it's a blessing and a curse, because you know, it's making you unprepared for reality and adulthood. Okay, other thoughts about anxiety. I think there's also a theme of consciousness of anxiety, and I have a feeling that anxiety is kind of like your brain or your consciousness or your being. It's like, I think it's a level of consciousness that we haven't developed well enough yet. I think it could be like a fifth dimension or something, where as we evolve, as we explore space, as our technology and information and intelligence increases, perhaps that's what that consciousness of anxiety, that's where it's coming from. It's a very kind of third-party awareness, and I think that's a healthy dose. Is good for everybody, because it makes you aware, it makes you analytical, and it makes you more careful to approach situations. It makes you think outside the box, and so that's one positive way to look at it. And I can kind of remind myself, if I do have anxiety, to think, hey, this is something that's a gift as well. It's giving me a remote location to operate my life from, analyze my life from, be compassionate from, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think the whole world needs more of that. Maybe they call it the third eye. Okay, so another theme of it is just dealing with it. So how do I deal with anxiety? Well, you got to learn to head it off. You got to learn to head it off. That's the one thing. You can't focus on it too much. When it gets you, you just say, okay, yeah, I know what this is. It's a physiological reaction, and you got to head it off. You got to be strong enough and believe in yourself enough to say, I'm just going to head this one off here. I'm going to get focused. I'm going to get involved with a task. Write a list of things you got to do. Everybody's got lists upon lists of things to do. Write that list out and just throw yourself into chores, and that will create a rhythm, and that'll help you head it off. And just knowing also that there's many people out there that have anxiety of all forms, but essentially it's the same thing. The helplessness of it, the extreme insurmountability of it, things of that nature. You know, thinking that you're going to go insane, thinking your heartbeat is going to explode and you're going to die, thinking you can't breathe because you have no control. You got to let go at that point. You got to believe in your own DNA that your brain and its different layers are going to take care of breathing and your heartbeat and things like that. Just move on. Focus on what you got to do, and then come back to it. And that always works. That always works. If you can throw yourself into chores. If you're just going to sit at home all day long and let it eat you, then you won't, and you will not be able to escape it. You got to get out. You got to do. And talk to friends, perhaps. I've got some friends out there that also have it. My family, my sister has it. Okay, so those are my thoughts on the topic of anxiety. For the viewers watching this, please include your comments below and tell me how you see it. Do you agree with me? How do you see it in your own perspective? And share your own treatment of how you deal with your anxiety. Cheers.